This is Natalie. Natalie is currently a graduate student working on her principal license, and she's about to embark on Task 2, which focuses on instructional leadership for a professional learning culture in the Massachusetts PAL Performance Assessment for Principal Licensure. I'm Professor H. I am an instructor in a principal licensure program, and I am Natalie's advisor. She scheduled an appointment here with me to clarify some questions that she has about Task 2. So listen in on our conversation.
Hi, thanks for allowing me the opportunity to come in and ask some questions about this task. I've read over the directions and the descriptions and I'm ready to get started, but I'm just a little confused on some of the requirements. And I wanted to touch base with you before I began. So I understand that the purpose of this task is to allow me to demonstrate my leadership skills in creating professional learning cultures among a group of teachers. And I know that our goal of the learning group will be to improve student learning in a priority area, but I'm not sure how to select the teachers for the professional learning team and whether there's a specific student learning priority we should focus on.
So your understanding of the purpose of this task is absolutely correct. Now, how you foster the group's learning as a group is as important as what they'll focus on and learn. So picking the teachers for the group should start with selecting a student learning priority area, and it should be based on current student performance, a challenge or a need in your school. And the priority area, it might even be the same one you selected for Task 1. It needs to align to the school and district priorities, and the group's learning is going to be focused on closing those achievement gaps. With regards to how to select teachers for your professional learning group, why don't you begin with those who are most interested in learning together, or on how to improve student learning with the priority area. So you might form a group with an existing teacher team or a subgroup of teachers from an existing school unit like the department or grade level teams. Or you could choose to form an all-new group or team specifically just to work on this task. Your school leaders are going to be able to help you identify potential group members to work on this project. To help you further, make sure you use the task instructions when you begin and then map out the types of teacher teams and groups that already exist in the school.
Okay, thank you. So how many people will I need for the team?
Well, it can be as few as 2 or 3 people in addition to you. The most important consideration is that the focus area is relevant for those teachers and that they're committed to working together and learning how to improve their content or practices to improve student learning.
Okay, thank you, that makes sense. I'm a little nervous though about how to get the group to narrow its focus around a specific student performance priority. Do you have any suggestions on how I can help the group with this?
Using the student learning priority area as a beginning point, work with the team to narrow the content focus and select a high leverage student learning standard that has the potential to improve student performance for the underperforming student group. So suggest that the teachers think about whether changes in curriculum, assessment, instruction, or the school environment might lead to improved student learning in that specific focus area. There's several group discussion protocols that you might try out for this, and it help you support teachers in sharing their concerns and challenges, analyzing student performance data to identify specific content or skill areas to improve, and brainstorming possible strategies or changes to try out. While they'll need to share the same priority focus, they might want to try out different strategies and use the group learning process to share their experiences and to gain feedback.
Okay. I understand I am to facilitate the meetings. However, could you help clarify what I need to do with the team? So, like, what should my role be? How often should we meet? What does it look like for me as I coach and facilitate the team? And what do we need to accomplish? What should I all document?
Your role is to facilitate the group as a professional learning group. So this entails logistical responsibilities such as setting agendas, arranging meeting times and spaces, keeping notes, and documenting the work that's done. Now, this also is going to entail supporting the group and the individual teacher in their learning, which means helping them to develop a learning plan and find resources that they might need, try out new content or practices, and share with the group. It also entails fostering a positive group culture and helping the group develop positive norms for team learning, solving problems constructively, providing feedback and support for each other, and you can do this by modeling these practices and encouraging them with others. The number of times you're going to meet as a group is going to depend on the nature of the learning task that you have. So some may require several meetings over a short time period, and others might require meeting less frequently over a longer time period. The work product instructions for task 2, they outline what you're going to need to report. So there's 6 types of documents that you must provide, including team building and discussion protocols used to structure the team's learning and agendas, and summary meeting minutes. You must prepare a 5-page report for your principal or superintendent that describes how team members supported each other's learning and how they provided constructive feedback to their colleagues about piloting or trying out the new practice. You'll need to explain how you served as a resource to the team members to increase their understanding of the student priority area and the problems and challenges that you addressed.
Okay, thank you. Getting the teachers to work together as a professional learning group seems challenging to me. So meeting time is not part of the teacher's contract. So how do I go about getting that meeting time? And I'm struggling what to do if team members don't come, or they don't participate, or they don't support each other.
Well, this is where you'll be able to demonstrate your leadership skills, both in your awareness of these problems if they arise and then how you handle them. Teachers are volunteering to be part of this group, so you're going to need to be creative about when you meet, or if teachers, they don't have a common planning time. The priority area is going to be important to the teachers, and if they're genuinely interested, then they're going to help the group think about where and when to meet. In terms of fostering positive group dynamics, attendance, participation, and support in particular, think about being transparent in establishing positive learning norms for the group when you very first begin. And then revisit these throughout the project to help reinforce the quality of participation and to give the group an opportunity to brainstorm solutions if problems persist. Your aim is to support the group in giving constructive feedback to each other over time as they try out new practices. There are also several discussion protocols that might be useful.
Okay. So how will I demonstrate or show that the team members have improved or changed their practice or student learning as a result of the team meetings and work they do together? Will I only use student data, or are there other forms of documentation I should be collecting to show that this has occurred?
It's my understanding that this task does not require that you show student learning gains unless short-term gains are evident throughout interim assessments. Instead, it asks for documentation on the implementation of the new practices. So the primary benefits that you're asked to show are team members' perceptions about the quality of the team learning process, quality of the feedback from each other, and how their knowledge and skills improved through this learning experience.
Okay. So in regards to the work products I submit, how will the scorers know about my leadership skills? How should I demonstrate that in those?
Your work is going to be scored by trained independent scorers who are experienced school leaders or leadership preparation faculty. They're going to compare your work products and indicators for each rubric, and they're going to compare your work products to the indicators for each rubric. Take a look at the rubrics at the end of Task 2's description. The rubric components will give you a clear indication of what leadership practices are expected to complete Task 2 and what different levels of proficiency look like. You should aim to have your work reflect the descriptions for meeting or exceeding. So for example, let's look at the second rubric, 2B, and the indicator of team process. The scorers will look at your work products, particularly your analysis and teacher feedback, for evidence that you consistently improved the group's learning and used shared norms to guide how your group worked together. If there is consistent evidence of this, your work would be meeting expectation. It would be exceeding if your work demonstrates further that you shared responsibility for facilitating the group's learning and used shared norms for problem solving, conflict resolution, and feedback. I recommend that you use those rubrics and look at the exceeding levels, and that should be your guide.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for taking the time today to help me with these questions. I think at this point that's all the questions I have, but as I continue with Task 2, if I have any other problems as I'm working with the group, I will stop back. Thank you.
You're welcome.